Welcome back to Beer, Wine, and Shine. This is the final haul of what I ran the other day. It's been a few days. I was going to put this at the end of the distillation video. However, it got to be rather long and kind of struggled with it. I'm not sure how much of it I want to cut out because it's my process and I'm still learning it. So if any of you want to sit through it and maybe give me some pointers on what I'm doing wrong and everything, I don't know. I think some of it's just paranoia with cutting off on my tails, but I have issues with deciding where to make my cuts because it's quite delicious. So this is the haul from the other night. It's been a few days. I don't really do the whole paper towel over each jar, let it breathe for a couple days for a few different reasons. One is my job is awfully demanding, and you know, I may not be able to get back to it for a couple days. That's just the way it is. Also, you know, I have done it when I've had a few days off in a row and was able to, and to be honest with you, I didn't really see much of a difference, or any difference actually. You know, maybe my taster just don't taste that well, but so I just don't bother with it. I don't ever taste any difference, and I don't have the time for it. However, so this is the entire run here. I didn't calculate up how much I got. It's probably, I don't know, 3 gallons or so. So I did have a few issues with running my still. I think I'm going to make another video about that and what I've learned and different setups that I've done and the way each setup acts a little differently. So I think I'm going to make another video and kind of explain what was going on with my still. It wasn't anything detrimental. It was just running faster than I wanted it to, and I could not slow it down because of the setup that I was using. I have some half gallons here because I was starting to collect my hearts. And to be honest with you, I may not have collected enough enough heads, I'm not sure. But it was tasting good, so I went ahead and flipped it over. But you can see here I stopped collecting because I was starting to notice some oils. And I got a little freaked out. So I switched back to pint jars. And the oils went away. It wasn't tails per se. I don't know what it was. It was just some oils, and it went away, and I just never switched it back off pints. I just kept running all my pints. So I've got a lot of jars here. I ended up actually running out of time. 6 a.m. was my cutoff, and I was down to 106 proof. And so all in all, it was actually a pretty good run. It was actually very good. So, but I was down to 106. I don't think I was into my tails yet, but I was out of time and I was forced to shut it off. I'm okay with it. I got quite a bit. However, I do want to come back and taste all my jars because I have in the past thought that I was good and, you know, no oils, no tails, I don't taste nothing. It all tastes good until a certain point. And then I come back a few days or a week later and taste them and realize that I had was into my tails 2 cases back, because I had been running all day and had blown my palate out and just couldn't taste them. But a few days later, I'm telling you, I could taste them, and it didn't taste very good. So I always want to wait a few days before I mix my jars. Now, I do have quite a few jars here, so I'm not going to sit here and taste every last single jar, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab probably the first jar out of every case and taste them. And if that one jar tastes good, I'm going to assume that everything to that jar tasted good. And then I'll go to the next case, the jar that I pick out of that case. So that's how I'm going to do it. Okay. Now this still seems like quite a few jars here. However, this is what I was calling my hearts to begin with. So, I mean, there's almost a gallon there. There's 3/4 of a gallon. So I'm really going to hope that I didn't mess that up. This is my 4 shots and all the samples that I took, which is going to equal to be most of a pint of heads. I took an entire pint of 4 shots, so I'm sure there's some heads in there. I really actually kind of started collecting at jar 6. There's 160 milliliters in that one. Jar 7 was full. Jar 8's only half full. And then what I did was basically, I took the first and last jar of each case. And over here I've got my half pints of the last few half pints that I ran. However, jar 47 here, which is a half pint, is right here, which is the last jar. So, what I like to do is get me a little distilled water here. And I'm just going to fill that up just so I have me some, Get my little George Washington, Glencairn, whatever you want to call it. Now, I am going to probably pick jar 11, which is a half-gallon jar, as my, I'm really going to hope that this is in the middle of my hearts kind of thing. Ooh, it does smell good. Now, I'm going to look at each jar to see if I see any kind of oils on there. Especially this last one. That one definitely smells different. It's definitely a little tailsy smelling, but there's no oils. That is just rich and delicious smelling. So, what I like to do is I'll get me a full little shot here of this and a full little shot of distilled water. Now what that does is it just dilutes it down. I might do it. Well, I got a lot of taste to do. Maybe I won't. And on the nose, it is just blueberry all day long. That is 152 proof. Now I know that I diluted it by half. That is smooth. I'm pleased. I am pleased with that. Okay. Success jar. Okay, now I do want to taste the jar right next to it. So, adding distilled water will dilute it down, because this is high proof. And I don't want to blow my palate out right away. But also it enhances the flavor and the aroma because you're not just getting high proof alcohol. You know, you're trying to find the flavors. And in fact, with the higher proof stuff, you know, I could keep myself from blowing my palate out. You know, instead of doing 50-50, I could do, you know, 25-75. Yeah, that's yeah, yeah. Those two are dude, that's pretty good. I am liking that. Okay, let me rinse. I'm getting a little bit excited here. A little bit excited. This one did taste some tailsies. Now, should I go south or north? I'm thinking south because I don't like tails. And I have in the past made a mistake of, well, this jar doesn't really taste really very much like tails at all. And I went ahead and threw it in there, and I regretted it. It didn't make the thing undrinkable, but it really wasn't that awesome sauce either. So I'm gonna go with jar 40. Jar 40 should be the last half pint of that case over there. Okay. Now I know I'm skipping, but I'm skipping for kind of a reason because there's quite a bit here, you know. Now this one I'm not gonna proof it down as much because this one here is only like at 115 proof. See, it already doesn't smell as good as those. But it doesn't smell bad. I don't think that's bad. Let's just go with the very last jar. This one was 102. I thought it was 106. I think maybe I miswrote that. Maybe it was 102. I don't know. I do know at the very end I was dropping proof a lot faster. So yeah, see this definitely smells different. I'm gonna set this one over here. It's not bad. It's just not as good, you know. I think I'm gonna go with half shots here instead of full shots. This is probably boring y'all to death, isn't it? Some of y'all like watching this kind of stuff, though. I don't know. It's not bad. It's just, I don't know that it's not like wet cardboard or dog or anything like that really. But it's dull. It doesn't have alcohol punch. Of course, I'm proofing it down quite a bit, but it doesn't have the blueberry flavor either. It's like these are almost like fresh blueberries. This is more like blueberries have been rolled around in dirt. Does that make sense? Yeah, see, now that I come back to that jar, it's tasting a lot like those ones. Let me come back up here and refresh. You know, some people say that, you know, if it tastes good, they're going to use it, right? I'm kind of in the same boat. However, I'm paranoid. This part here makes me paranoid because you can mess the whole thing up by throwing tails in there, you know? Ooh, yeah. Oh, wow, what a difference. I mean, yeah. So that was jar 40. This one's jar 29. I may end up discarding all of these jars over here. I don't know that even with these small cuts, I don't know that I'm gonna be able to like pull the jar. I don't know. Although that's jar 29. The difference between jar 29 and jar 40 is pretty significant. That's only 10 jars, and they're half pints, okay? You know, we're dealing with half pints here. So I'm gonna say that that transition happens somewhere in that case, okay? So later on, I'll probably, you know, rinse out and everything, and I will try to find that jar in that case. I'm not gonna make you sit through that. So now here's jar 28. I'm probably gonna go ahead and give it a shot, but after this, I really kind of probably gonna want to go ahead and move north. So yeah, I mean that blueberry is there again. That blueberry is there again, and so is that alcohol. And it's just not as dull, you know. Now, a lot of people say like grains or, you know, wet dog and cardboard and all that is descriptors, and you know, it depends on what you're dealing with. I'm dealing with fruits. I'm dealing with blueberries. Okay. You know, grains will give you that cardboard. Fruits may not. It's different. So I don't know how to describe it, but I'm gonna say jar 29, definitely my last keep jar. I will find out where the tails are there. Now, this is jar 6, 7, and 8. So I'm doing this backwards. I'm right-handed. I don't know why I'm doing it like this. 6, 7, 8, right? And that's how it goes. 4 shots, which is jar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay? You with me? And I'm going to say that everything between, well, I don't know. I need to find out if jar 8's even good. Because if jar 8's crap, then I need to dig in there. I don't know how much heads I should have had. And this is high proof, 152. So I'm going to go with a half a shot of liquor and a full shot of distilled water. Ooh. Man, I wish you could smell the blueberries in this. I can't find anything in that I don't like. Now, one thing that I was thinking that when I was running, that it was a little fiery, a little prickly on the tongue. I'm not getting any of that. Not any of it. Maybe it's because I'm proofing it down. I don't know. That does tend to calm things down. Maybe when I'm done here, I'll take a hero shot. What do you say? The farther up I go, just the more blueberry. I'm liking that. It's got a bit of a different flavor. Here's jar 6. Now I do believe jar 6 is where I said, here's my hearts. Okay. Again, a half a shot of liquor, a full shot. This is 152. So it rode 100. It started out at 155, dropped down to 152, and just stayed there. Like jar 11 here is a half gallon. Jar 12 is a half gallon. They're both 152 proof. Like it just stayed there. Yeah, it's got a little something extra. I am gonna be being rather conservative here though too. Like, this is a good run. I don't want to mess it up. This part, you know. I'd rather sacrifice a jar either way and know that I've got a good product than throw a jar that I think is good, not sure, and ruin it, you know. I mean, I got enough to throw out a jar, you know. I think jar 7 might be. What am I doing? Did you see that? Did you see what I just about did? Man. You think a man's been drinking or something. I did have a glass of whiskey before I even started this. Did I eat anything today? I don't even know. I don't think so. I think that's where I'm going to call it. Because jar 7 and 8 are pretty good. 7's got a little extra in there that 8 doesn't have. But it's not bad. But then jar 6... It's got a little more punch. Of course, at 152 proof, it's gonna fucking burn your nose, you know what I'm saying? I think that, you know, maybe I'll set this jar aside. You know, maybe I'll throw some honey in it. Just drink it. This is jar 5. So I'm not getting any of those acetones and all that kind of stuff. It's just more alcohol-y. I don't know. I think probably what I need to do is go ahead and just sit it down. Go refresh my palate. Go watch some TV for a half hour, an hour. Come back to it. I'll let you know my final results, but I mean, it's not bad. It's got a lot of flavor to it, and I like that, and it's not getting pringly on the tongue. But you can definitely tell that it's got a little extra in there. It's got a little extra heat in there that these other jars just don't have. So I think that's where I'm going to call it. So anyway, I've got 2 gallons of prime. This is the best blueberry right here. I've got a half gallon that kind of is just the end of that, and then I've got a half gallon here that is kind of the end of the run, but it's not yet tails, and this is kind of that end of the run and kind of transitions into the tails I went ahead and decided to keep most of that case that I was kind of debating on. I didn't want to throw such high proof out. However, so I just filled the jar up. I'm going to go ahead and oak this as well, because I do know that tails will kind of change, and for the better in oak or in a barrel. So I might try that with this. And however, I thought about throwing that last case in there, and as soon as I went to the first jar, I just took me a swig right off the top. I didn't even proof it down, and it was definitely different. Definitely a lot more musky. So I just cut it right there. So that's what I did. I hope you enjoyed this video and watched me struggle through this. I'm not very good at this part, and I need to get a lot better at it, but it is what it is. And if I didn't bore you to death, you can give me some pointers. And don't forget to stick around and see what I do with all this blueberry. Quite a bit of blueberry here. I'm not just going to be drinking it straight. I got some plans for each bit of it, so watch out for those videos. We'll see you next time on Beer, Wine, and Shine.